So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining online today in very special webinar session. So, we have also our local partner in Cambodia, Innolabs. So, in today's session, we will discuss about how is actually unlocking growth, the strategies for successful digital transformation for business in Cambodia. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Hera. I'm a partner manager here in Odoo Hong Kong office. And here we have Jeff as the founder and also CEO in Innolabs. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jamil Sua.
Hi. So, and today's webinar session, we have like very special agenda as well. The first, we will discuss about how is the business overview and also ERP opportunities in Cambodia. Let's learn more about the country. And also the most importantly is our partner today will share more is the key success for the project implementation. And then not only about learning from the experience, but also we want to hear more about the real case study from one of our client, which is Apopo Visitor Center. And then we will summarize all of the practical takeaways that we can implement directly after the webinar today. And lastly, we have a Q&A session. So stay tuned in our YouTube video. So you can drop your question or your response, and then we will discuss about it. So yeah, let's get to know more about Innolabs. So Innolabs is Cambodia's ERP partner that gets it right. So it's very interesting jargon. So I will ask Jeff to share more about this. So yeah, Innolabs itself is established in 2015, a Canadian-founded innovation hub dedicated to driving IT and business solution in Cambodia. So their mission is to bridge the gap between Western technology practices and local market needs, fostering innovation and growth in the Cambodian tech landscape. So, Jeff, maybe you can share more about yourself and also Innolabs.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ida. Yeah, I'm in Cambodia since 2013. When I arrived here, I've started a co-working space named Anchor Hub, and the goal was to help a young Khmer entrepreneur. And after that, I've created a few startups and ventures, some successful, some not. So I've learned a lot about the tech landscape and the business world in Cambodia. And my background is in IT, actually. I worked at companies such as IBM, Orange Telecom in France, and yeah. So my skills range from side hustles like starting small ventures. So I've touched digital marketing, I touched business, accounting, but my real background is system administration on Linux and open source systems.
Okay, that's cool. So you have like very broad experiences coming from different continent, also entrepreneurship, and of course the technology side, right? Something that really interesting as well that correlated with our webinar session today. So what about your expertise, Jeff?
Yes, well, as Innolabs, here in Cambodia, we worked with clients in different categories. One was in the legal sector, or is in the legal sector, and their firm is spreading across 10 countries in Asia. And so they had some challenges for HR with the regulations, contracts. Some staff might be from one nationality but working in another country with different public holidays. So we are constantly updating rules and working with them. So this has been an amazing experience. All the leave management and etc. We'll discuss a bit later about that. And as well in terms of fintech, financial technologies, we have worked on payment plugins and integration for different banks. Some of the leading banks in Cambodia, including implementation for Odoo. And yeah, so now we are exploring, speaking of Odoo, how we can bridge Odoo with AI. So we have a small side project, which is AI-powered CRM on Odoo. So excited to be with you today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very exciting part as well because of like, we are in the age of AI. I think also bridging all of this technology, of course, for like the best solution for the most of the businesses can utilize, right? Okay, and without further ado, we want to learn more as well about how is actually the business overview and also ERP opportunities in Cambodia. So we see that we have a lot of like interesting key highlights in Cambodia. So economy-wise, is recover continued from 2023 with GDP growth around 5%, driven by tourism and also manufacturing. And also Cambodia experienced impressive economic growth with an average annual GDP around 7% after COVID-19. I think we see also like this trend is happening to a lot of developing countries thanks to like very young population, and also it's supported by macroeconomic stability with the trade openness and then a lot of foreign direct investment also injecting the capital to the market itself. And also tourism, we see that after COVID we're stuck, we cannot travel. Now everyone is traveling around, and also export on manufacturing. And surprisingly, also seems like Cambodia attract attention from the international, that ADB is also key source of the official aid for Cambodia. And we see as well there are a lot of business trend in Cambodia, which is first is digital transformation and adaptation, which is accelerating digitalization is one of the key, and also how this how the businesses mostly integrate to technology and also fintech development and evolving the business practices. So most of the stakeholder now is aware about the emphasis on ESG, environmental, social, and also governance, and also the sustainability outcome and adaptation to the changing environment. We see that a lot of instability in the political scope, and that's how is actually the country itself able to navigate this uncertainty by building the resilience, being agile, and also adaptable. And from here, we see also like a couple of challenges in Cambodia. So this is some of the very interesting finding that we learned. But actually, maybe can you share more about this, Jeff, based on your experience, like more than 13 years in Cambodia?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So, well, definitely a lot of challenges, but a good one. And you mentioned adaptability. So the landscape is changing very quickly, so people have to adapt, but also businesses. So often one of the challenges for local businesses is to do the education of their customers. So the awareness about a problem, about a solution, about a product. So there's a lot of efforts that need to be done. So brings a lot of pressure to local companies. And sometimes when they have done all this work, then the competition is getting the clients. So this create a specific really environment, but people are really eager to learn and approach new ideas. So talking about the workforce, mentioned like the workforce dynamics. I see that often we have the workforce that is ready, data science students that graduates from technologies, cybersecurity, all these things that we think are within what we call the skills gap. But what I see on the ground is often you have talents that they are struggling to find jobs, so they look for opportunities elsewhere, remote jobs, etc. And the reason for that is not only the tech world is moving quickly in Cambodia, but also the management. So management need to, I call this the management gap. So management often they need to take bigger risk, and tech sometimes they might not understand. If tech is not their background, it might be scary, or they had like bad experiences before. So before hiring talents, they try to be careful. And for that, I hope we can have good answers and good advice today in this call, because I think everything is in place. I'm not saying there's no skills gap. There's definitely a skills gap, but there's also amazing talents that deserve to be hired. Yeah, so let's explore that.
Okay, yes, absolutely agree. Especially with the workforce dynamics, right? Because of like with openness, with a lot of opportunity, with the young talent, they're very hungry with the opportunity and screwed, but also actually how the businesses can provide this opportunity for them to grow, right? And also something that you also mentioned that for how they can compete with other competitor and stuff, so how they can actually like balancing, right, the profitability,
Yes.
growth, and risk itself, and then having the good governance of their businesses is also very important, especially having the correct data so they can make the right decision, or like the correct decision for their business growth.
Yes, and just sorry to interrupt, because you mentioned something very important, and I want to just take the opportunity. So about the challenges, sometimes we're lacking of data. So
Right,
I see some companies, they're building websites, but
right.
they're not measuring anything, measuring the visitors. So I think any investments, any type of investments, we need to measure and learn from this data, and this is really crucial to be able to compete and grow. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And but also we want to think more positively as well. So how is actually there are a lot of opportunities, especially the growth, because of, like, in the developing country there's still a lot of issues that we can tackle. And then how is the public sector development also combination with the private sector, it also can develop the more use business friendliness, and also the workforce development. I think something that we already mentioned before, with the management gap, with the talent, and etc. Fintech innovation, how actually the businesses having the financial real data, so they can keep in track about all of their um, businesses, processes, and so on, they can make a good decision on it. And then proactive on business strategies, something that actually we will discuss more further about this. And then the regional growth and innovation. So we see that APAC in general is one of the most vibrant market at the moment, with the really high growth with a lot of countries. I think it's also kind of like the domino effect, right? To make also Cambodia want to grow rapidly. So yes, and we know that actually from the to improve the digitalization and also to improve the business operation itself, that having a system, or with enterprise resource planning, is also very important, because it actually can unlock the true business potential, how they can optimize their businesses, how they can take for the real data to have a better governance, and etc. And that's why in Odoo, we want actually to support this opportunity for most of the company or businesses. Odoo is all-in-one management software. It's user-friendly and customizable. So we know that most of the businesses, if they start want to, digitalize their system, having the system that easy to adapt is very important. And also we know that every businesses operate in their own uniqueness. So it's not one size fit for all. So thanks for the Odoo that is can easily to customize depending on the business flow itself. And we also have a global presence. We have around 19 offices worldwide in the across continent. And then till today, we serve more than 12 million happy users when this, and then we still growing together with them. And this is our portfolio. So we serve very different and very diverse industry, start from manufacturing, retail, NGO, services, education, and still a lot more. And also Odoo can utilize from small, medium to large company, thanks for the customizable system. And how actually Odoo can help your businesses. So we see that at the moment, maybe some of the companies still manual or utilize a lot of single application, which is not integrated each other. Or you can imagine if like your company having more than 10 licenses, you have to check one by one when you have to upgrade it, and maybe the data is still all over the place. And for sure you want this all of single application is integrated each other and then simultaneously, but normally it takes some time. You need more resources as well to build this system to be integrated each other. So we want to decrease this pain point, because in Odoo we are all in one solution and it's integrated each other. And Odoo itself covering a plenty of application that will meet all of the business need, starting to track all of your sales, or maybe you have a subscription model on your revenue stream. You can also track with our sales application, and then also help you to make sure you have a brand and also online presence. You can utilize website application, or maybe you want to straight sell your product or services, you can also utilize e-commerce. And of course, the most importantly is the back end part, how actually purchase and also inventory team can working simultaneously. You can also utilize operation apps. And for sure, to manage your team, you can utilize HR apps. And not only that, we're covering complicated application, which is manufacturing. If you have a full supply chain system, and thanks to for productivity apps, to support you to be more productive in the daily basis for all of your team, and also to make sure your marketing campaign is targeting to the right audience, you can also utilize marketing apps. And most importantly, the financial application, so you can keep in track with all of the invoice, give the report to all of your management or your team in the real data, and also you still can customize again the business system that you have with Odoo according to your needs with Odoo Studio. And yes, not only having a good software, but also the most importantly is like how you can implement the system. So I would like to ask Jeff to share more about his experience, how is actually the key for IT project successes.
Thank you for that. Wow. I really love Odoo. I like how you presented that. And so why most IT projects fail? Well, most, a percentage that it might be too big. And sometimes it's nobody's fault. And it can be easy sometimes to point fingers, can be the supplier, the client, someone. But let's discuss about a few of these areas and see how we can make this a success. So the first one is, do we have enough resources? I think if we don't have resources, there's no success. Being the people, the workforce, or the budget, or the intention. So I have a story that might not be take too much time, but the story is I have a client that within the same client, we had two projects with ERP implementation and two different Odoo modules, or different modules, but two different projects within an organization. So the organization is relatively large, but they have the same, obviously, same shareholder and the same management. So we have implemented successfully in one of the department a system, and we keep working with them. We have good feedback, and it's everything that we could expect. But the other department, it didn't work. So we built all the solution perfectly, but the employee was not committed, was afraid of trying a new system, afraid of, oh, it's the system. And that creates some fear for some people that they're working the same way for the last 10 or 15 years. So what is important is not only top-down information and management, but is also having the commitment and everyone at the table, all the stakeholders, that they understand what's going on and they're all motivated with the same goal, not just an instruction from someone in a corner that sometime they might not be in the same department. And just because of that, they will not have the commitment of others. So resources have commitment and clear communication. So basically the key takeaway of this part is we always need to plan larger than what was planned initially in terms of people, resources, time, and increase the communication, having a single point of contact from the supplier and from the client, and having a documents or ideally a project manager. But yes, that's the resource part. I think that just having clear communication and the interest of everyone can be a big win. So the next one is processes. Often, relatively often, with small companies, the information is passed from an employee to another when they hire them, or it's a family business, or etc. So they not always have processes, but actually they do. They're just not written down. So when they need to scale, when they need to have more sales, more employees, and be able to deliver more, And sometimes it gets complicated very quickly because they're unable to train people fast enough, deliver, identify the defects if it's a factory, for example. So what we need to make sure is that the clients, they have organizations that they have written processes. If they don't, we work with them to create some. And often, while even if they have like existing processes, often what we see is that there are room for improvement. For example, if one step of the process was to fill a paper form, well, obviously we digitalizing, so we will need to improve that form and having something more effective that the employee, for example, they don't need to put the work order and all the details over and over because we already have them in the system. So they just open the app and add some details. So often this is it's an easy win actually, because every businesses need to have proper processes and SOPs. Right. Another one is training and learning about the new system. Sometimes it can be scary for some people to change their habits. So to make it easy, I saw over my career that often like the IT projects are delivered with a really, really thick documentation or complex documentation with too much words, filling words. And for the average users, it's too complex. So they will just ask their neighbors, oh, do you know how this works? And to make this way much easier, we decided to use videos. And so our videos are often in Khmer, sometimes in English, sometimes with subtitles. And they're very, very quick, like 1-2 minutes per module. For example, if it's a point of sale, for the cashiers, the training video is just a few minutes, and they can just refer back to the video when they want to. If there's a part that they misunderstood or a problem that they see later, they can just go back and check the video. So that's a quick win as well. Videos instead or along with the documentation. All right. This one is my favorite, and I hope it will not be too shocking. So often like projects are created with a start date and an end date. And often this by itself is an issue. And that will resonate maybe to some decision makers listening today. But often we will see a project start, and then different variables or different events would happen. Staff is sick, or there's an issue with the software, or name it. And then it end up being way much longer than planned. And we can hear about this project over and over. Oh, it's not done yet. It's been a really long time. When is the result? And oh yeah, we are over budget. And of course, these like are all like negative feeling about the project implementation. And the reason for that was not planned accordingly, or it was seen as a start and an end date. And normally, a solution should be living with the company, because today every company is a tech company. So, for example, I will not talk about Odoo for a second. I've implemented a lot of websites, mainly on WordPress during my career, and I've developed themes and plugins. And a common situation is that once the website is live, the client is never updating it and never revisiting the website, not checking the data and metrics and understanding the visitors. And what's happening is then they will renew their website every 5 years because it's clearly outdated. But we don't know who's visiting. We didn't convert users or try to convert users. And sometimes even the contact form on the websites are not working, which is supposed to be the main reason to have a website. So where I'm going with that is, what is important after a project is to have continuous improvement. This idea of, it's not my idea, it's from the lean startup principle, is build, measure, and learn. So basically, the idea is like, if we build something, we need to measure how it works, if it's successful or not, and do a modification or improvement, and then learn again, build again. And this will ensure success. And also, when I mentioned plan accordingly, what I meant is we plan a project to be living with our company. So if we create a new system, it's a new commitment. We work to implement it. We have a start date, of course, but it's not ending there. It's at the end date, I meant. It's ending, well, never. It's ending with the company. So we should always improve and learn from our company, from the data. And yes, so that's one of my key key trick or technique, and we will see a bit later why it can work. I think we have a case study following, and this implementation, we had a retainer after, and for continuous improvement, and we had a great communication with the client, back and forth, giving us ideas. We implement, we measure, and it was just a brilliant experience after the project. So let's hear about it.
Okay, that's great. I think that's really insightful, sharing, especially like most of the businesses, they're not really aware, right, about their pain point that they experience. So, like they're doing business for like years, but it's still not really efficient when they do, they operate it. So yeah, they need to like evaluate again, right, to rethink again about what is actually wrong with their operation. So build the awareness and also sense of collaboration in the company itself is also can help them as well to improve, right? So and then having like dedicated person to like in charge on the project is also very important. So it's much easily to like you when you connect with the vendor or maybe the provider, IT solution provider, and etc. And so yeah, let's be more organized because of like having the SOP is also very important. So it's much easier when you want to adapt to the new system as well. And so yes, and maybe we have very and also the magic will happen after for sure. Maybe in the beginning, still a lot of things that you have to work on, right, Jeff? But then you can feel, the impact itself after when the project or the system has been implemented. I think we want to hear more about this. Jeff, can you share more about your case study with Apopo Visitor Center?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one actually, and I just received like nice updates from the client this week. And yeah, so let's discover together how it got started. But Apopo is an organization doing demining, and they're using rats to sniff and detect a bomb. And to support the operations, they have a visitor center located in Siem Reap in Cambodia. And so tourists, before or after Angkor Wat, they're passing by often and going to visit and discover more about this amazing project. So I'm a fan, so I'm very happy that I had the opportunity with the team to work on this one. So let's discover. Right, so Apopo, and I'm very happy that I can talk about this because sometimes we're under NDAs and it's complicated to talk about projects. And this one, we're fully authorized to do so. All right, so when we met with Apopo, their general manager, Sambat, knew their problems very well. So they had some slowness with the website. It was a WooCommerce, a WordPress and a WooCommerce website, and making bookings was very painful, very slow. And the reason for that is a lot of plugins were installed on the WordPress site, and it was very slow and hosted in Europe, which was not ideal sometime when the clients are located in Cambodia, trying to make a reservation on a slow mobile phone connection with a website not optimized for mobile. So it was really, really painful. So they knew about these pain points, but more importantly, as we saw earlier, the advantage of Odoo is to have systems connected together. So in this situation, nothing was connected because, they're trying to. So their WordPress site had several plugins trying to do connection between system, between Google Calendar, between the payment provider, this and that. Probably a lot of people listening know about Zapier, Make.com, and different solutions like this to connect systems together. But sometime after a few years, things are not working as expected. And often the connection information are with the initial developers and things are not working, or we are getting afraid to touch the system. So systems are becoming out of date and overwhelmed. So basically, that was one of the problems. And I mentioned earlier Google Calendar. So they had to synchronize their booking calendar with their website and the walking guests and agency making bookings, etc. And they had to manually update the Google Calendar to block the dates if somebody was walking in. And because the synchronization was not working correctly in a bi-directional fashion, so what they had to do is when a guest was walking in, they had to go on the WordPress site and make a manual booking. So it was really, really painful for them. So let's discover what we have explored with them. Right. So when we presented Odoo, we obviously mentioned the ERP part, that everything was connected, the same database. And they're very excited about it, to be able to have only one system, be able to have a POS that it's connected with their calendar, the website as well. The availability was updated live in real time, and be able to generate reports easily end of the day, etc. So the POS part, now when they had a walk-in customers, they could block the time, make the payment by POS terminals for credit cards, which before they had to do manually. Now they just press a button and the amount is appearing on the POS terminal. The list of features is quite long, but the point is now everything is connected, and to generate a report and do reconciliation, things are way much easier. Because of that, they gain a lot of time, and the website and the system was able to follow the growth of the company. Since last year, they had a significant increase in number of visitors, and thanks to Odoo, it was able to follow their growth and their efforts. And I think the client is quite happy about it, and we are as well. And what I want to say is, back to the idea of, or what I was saying, that the magic happened after, is with Apopo, we had clear communication all the time. So it was written down on a Google spreadsheet, for example, what we had to do. So they were updating, okay, this feature, we would like to customize it, or can you add a field to do this, do that? And we want to report like this. So we were updating constantly their ERP, and this is the beauty of Odoo. And they understood what was possible. So we have done a lot of updates after, and that was part of a retainer agreement. So we have support 7 days a week because they have guests 7 days a week, and a retainer to do all the modifications that they were asking. And it was an amazing collaboration, to be honest. I'm very excited about it. And yes, so let's discover a bit more about Odoo, maybe with their own words. And Apopo, sorry. Discover more about Apopo.
Awesome. So yeah, this is really cool because of you mentioned that after they utilize Odoo system, before everything is all over the place, and now they even bring a lot of growth as well, right, in their operation. So yeah, and I think we have very special video from the Apopo directly, Jeff. So let's check it out.
Hello, my name's Tom. I oversee marketing here at the Apopo Visitor Center in Siem Reap. We use Odoo to help our visitor center provide tours, showing visitors to the city how we train special rats to detect landmines here in Cambodia. We've been using Odoo since December 2024, and in that 4-month period, we have seen our visitor numbers up by 60% compared to the same period last year. We use Odoo across POS, online bookings, inventory, purchasing, and accounts. and our teams across those departments report that reconciliation is easier. All the functions that they used to do on different platforms are now much simpler. It's very user-friendly. Our receptionists in the visitor center report that they can go home earlier in the day now because they've got less work to do in terms of updating different spreadsheets and reconciling different systems. Innolabs, the contractors that we've been using, are fantastic. We've really enjoyed working with Jeff and his team. I would definitely recommend them to other organizations for similar projects. And actually, our head office in Tanzania have decided to implement Odoo across the entirety of the Apopo organization, thanks to our experience here in Cambodia. If we hadn't had such a great experience with Innolabs and Odoo in general, then they definitely would not have made that decision. So hopefully later this year, the whole organization will be benefiting as well. We will definitely use Jeff again for any similar projects. So thank you to him. Hello, my name is Tom. I oversee.
All right. So the most important thing is that how actually the system can make their life easier, right? So with the less stuff and then do more, especially like from Apopo person mentioned that, oh, like some of their employee can leave the office faster because they don't need to spend a lot of time to like updating, juggling a lot of spreadsheets, right? So yes, I would like to ask you, like, if you can summarize like all of your experiences implementing Odoo system, Jeff, what is actually the important things that you want to highlight?
Yes, thanks for this question. And first, I want to say, after Tom's video, I want to say thanks to our team, Vicia as well. It was paramount in this success. Our head of Odoo for us at Innolabs. So for me, one of the key takeaway is that the key is communication. It was why it was a success with Apopo. That's the reason why I meant, and it was it needs to come from all the stakeholders, not just from one side. So because they had someone available, because they understood the game, where they wanted to go, that we're their ally, we're not just a vendor, and we're there for the long run. And so this communication was very key. So we're just straight to the point every time. And I think in all the successful projects I've experienced, and the less successful, it was always about communication. So, and expectations. So this basically, if I can summarize everything, is that plan larger, but not in terms of being over budget. It's the budget itself of people involvement. We cannot just take a software off the shelf and it would be magical without any involvement from our teams and be able to train employees on a new system, etc. This is crucial to make a project a success. We cannot just skip that and a software will do magic, even with AI. That would not work. We need to be really involved, actively involved, bring everyone at the table that are involved with the software day to day, and listen about their problems and their feedback. And because we're able to budget accordingly and having a software or a solution living with the company, then we can listen to them doing continuous improvement and being happier, right? So that's my takeaway.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So let's wrap up together what are some of the practical takeaways from Jeff sharing. So everyone here can like summarize and then maybe practice after this if you have a plan to like starting digitalize your businesses. The first, Odoo as ERP implementation with the integrated system. You can utilize the system for your entire operation. And also, the most importantly, you need to start planning about this because of digitalization is kind of like long-term growth and commitment. So creating the timeline and then having resource allocation, for example, person or team who dedicated that following start from the beginning until along the way of the implementation is very important to make the communication easier. And then, well, we are human. We love a visual. We learn faster when we see something. So with affective training by the video and also bilingual, it also can help the user adapt with the new system faster, and also budgeting, implementation, and ongoing support. So yes, we know that budget is always the main discussion. So that's why put in the budget in mind as well. Like start rethinking again what is actually we want to achieve or the long-term goals of this, long-term plan. And lastly is retainer model. So like I think I really love the part that the magics happen after. So yes, keep improving. I think it's also what happened that, in the startup or maybe in the good businesses, that how we can keep iterate, right? To improve what we can do. And then thanks to like Odoo system as well, it's kind of like modular basis. So you don't need to like shift or change the system again. You can like start implementing to another department, and then the system also still able to support your growth. And so, yes, I think we are in the most exciting part as well. Is a Q&A. I saw that a lot of question already from the audience. Are you ready, Jeff?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so I think like a lot of people are kind of like still following, seems like into this webinar. So maybe we can start from the first three questions first. So yeah, the first question is, how can the ERP leverage the business, especially in finance? Okay, it's something your expertise as well, Jeff, in finance. Maybe you want to share more?
Yes. Well, in finance, depend which area of finance, but let's be really generic here. So for me, one of the strengths of Odoo is being able to do reconciliation quite easily. For example, I'm changing banks and I want to import a bank statement, even if it's, and I can adjust the columns quickly and import and compare. Can do computation, and I can, of course, link my accounting system with my inventory, with my invoices, obviously, purchasing, depreciation, forecasting as well. I don't know which the question was, like which area specifically to finance, but yeah, it's quite flexible. Yeah.
All right, because of actually finance is like one of the key, right? It's also influenced to another sector, kind of like their inventory part, or maybe their, another operation. So this is also very important, right? Having the right data, so they can also kind of like have the, a real report. Because I also oftentimes hear that most of customer, they even like take so much time to like check how is actually their revenue stream on 1 month when they do management a meeting. So they don't even able to track kind of like their sales and etc. So yeah, having like the finance system also can help them, right, for this kind of situation.
For
So
sure.
yeah, and then we have actually another question, Jeff. I think this is is a really good question. Do you have any tips or ideas to utilize data in the business management to be more effectively? So I think it's also very interesting. Like sometimes we have a lot of data, but we still don't know how to use it, right? So yeah, can you share more?
Sure, I will do a nice segue about the finance part. So in terms of data, I can go in the CRM section of Odoo, check my client, check the average sales, late payments, and etc. So I have a lot of insights from looking at my data, but also my sales pipeline. So I'm using this data to understand my how can I say? I can plan more or having better strategies when I'm looking at the data. For example, I'm hiring some talents at the moment, so I can already do some forecasting on revenues. I can see the trend in my deals pipeline in the CRM. I can see that while I'm a bit overwhelmed, I cannot contact always everyone on time or for different reason. And then might see that, okay, there's a need to hire someone. So it's very insightful in terms of data. But if we're going in other areas, for example, talking about Apopo, well, they have a better view of their bookings. They're forecasting their inventory. For example, they had growth, like 60% growth in comparison to the same period last year. Well, the inventory need to follow as well. So they have asked us to implement some calculations that we do an average of the last 4 weeks to be able to know when it's time to order another item. So for example, you have a supplier that will bring you the products in 1 week and the other one in 2 weeks. And we do a calculation based on the remaining inventory, the average sales per week over the last few weeks. And then we know when it's the deadline to order without being out of stocks. So that being said, Apopo is running on Odoo version 17, and the new version of Odoo 18. They have more advanced calculation, and they're using AI to do these inventory forecasting. So data is really a big part of Odoo, and being able to exploit our own data, which is very important. Because the question is about leveraging the data for our company. And I see many solutions in the cloud that they're making nice dashboards or focusing on only one aspect, but they also own your data. So sometimes it's hard to exploit the data. Yeah, so for example, with Apopo, they are, for the bookings, they're generating now QR code. There's a marketing module in Odoo, and we can create unique campaign IDs or ways to identify a marketing campaign. So we know when a specific sale was because of a specific ad or advertising, or this QR was scanned, and that's why we had that many customers for this product. So yeah, it's a long answer, but we can go forever with data, but it's really crucial.
Awesome. I really like the part that you mentioned on the CRM, for example, right? When you are like dealing with a lot of client and etc., and then we want to track how is actually our sales team performance, right? So for example, we have maybe a couple months that the performance is not that good. So having a data, especially in Odoo, is also built over a Python, which is also like programming language for AI. It's also help us to generate the real data, what's actually going on, right? So over here, we can measure again how is actually our effort, something that maybe still not really effective or efficient, so we can improve it, right? So we can also measure how is our effort and also maybe improve it in the future. So yeah, thank you so much. And oh yeah, inventory. I think also the ability to forecast in the future is also very important, right? Especially for entity or also organization that stock is always a lot of like a big problem, especially because it's also can affect if the valuation or the profit itself. And so yeah, Jeff, I think we still have one more question. Okay, which one I have to choose? All of them are very interesting. So actually, okay, I will choose this question. I think we have very curious audience. It's about Innolabs. So when starting Innolabs, what was the initial problem that you guys kind of experience or want to solve? And then how did that evolve into what you guys are today?
Oh, that's a great question, but the answer might surprise you. So the, the first reason is like when arrived in 2013, I started a co-working space called Anchor Hub, and I couldn't register this name legally. And so I had to register my company with the Ministry of Commerce. So then with some friends, we generate ideas and we went for Innolabs because um, I'm a big fan of innovation, always R&D and innovating. So, and that became kind of the supporting arm or the holding company of different projects, some successful, some not. But we have explored a lot of proof of concept, especially around fintech and payments. And for example, from Innolabs, after that, another company was created called Gecko Cambodia, and that the little gecko in our logo, it's coming from Gecko Cambodia. That I closed that company and I kept only Innolabs and I transferred everything inside. But Innolabs is kind of the holding, if you want, of multiple projects. So you can go check our website, innolabs.dev, and check our projects.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we still have some time. I think we can answer one more question. So yes, you already shared to us about Apopo Visitor Center, which is a very unique organization. Even it's very niche and specific. The business process. Thanks for your expertise on also Odoo system, able to fulfill this gap. But also, can you share more? Maybe is there any other implementation ERP experience in another or different organization, Jeff?
Yes, absolutely. I will answer in two parts. One is a point of sales, POS system. So we are helping also small organizations like cafes and restaurants using Odoo POS. It's very powerful because from using Odoo, they automatically can manage their inventory, their accounting, and replacing their QuickBooks and generating QR codes, etc., for payments. So we're working on packaging an offer just for POS. But what we have done in the last few months is a business that we're not thinking that we will have on Odoo is gyms, like fitness centers and gyms. So they had a specific need that they wanted some access control as well. So we created a customization of Odoo that when the guests are arriving, so they can buy their membership on Odoo, so they can do the payments, etc., as normal. POS for the cafe inside the gym and buying products and T-shirts, and also they can activate membership cards. And then we have the RFID, just tap or just scan, and there's a nice screen in the gym. You can go check. It's called a Kingdom Fight Gym in Phnom Penh, and also TWR, the waiting room, and then you can just tap your card, and on the screen you have access granted, and when your membership is ending. Yeah, so this was a cool implementation that we really like. We like customization a lot, like IoT and exploring technologies. So that's another reason why the name Innolabs. And the other part of my answer is that we're working, and I forgot to mention that earlier, is that we're working on the integration of e-invoicing in Cambodia with Cam Invoice. So this is the goal is to be able to not print any invoices, but have electronic invoices within Cambodia. So we're really excited to be one of the companies working on this implementation.
Awesome. So not only Odoo can help on the business operation, but also it's also how you can also help to integrate or also be more suitable with the local requirement or the compliance itself. That's really cool. I think we still have some time. It's a last question, Jeff. It's very interesting, which is what can the Odoo's marketing section help us as a startup company? So yeah. Can you share more about the marketing now?
Yeah, we have okay, good question, good level. I love that. So I mentioned earlier about tracking, doing a campaign tracking. So for example, you're doing Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, you can put what we call the UTM tags. So campaign ID, where it's from, and calculate and seeing, be able to measure where their clients are coming from and how many sales they're bringing you. So for example, with that, we can count the return on ad spend on Facebook, for example, or Google Ads. And that's very, very convenient to know. And also in terms of marketing inside Odoo, we have the mass SMS. So it's possible to send an SMS. For Cambodia, it works, but yeah, the rates need to be double checked. But also mass email. So for all the companies using MailChimp and exporting from QuickBooks or from a list on Facebook, etc. With Odoo, in a few clicks, I'm able to do the mass mailing with my existing clients because it's the same database. So it's very, very convenient. So that's a way that Odoo can be used for startups. And I want to say as well that, okay, Innolabs is a Odoo partner in Cambodia, but also Odoo by itself exists, right? So you can go on odoo.com and see and register and try the products, so you can try for free. So for startups, there's a lot of flexibility, and the pricing model is very, very interesting because you're paying by users. So when you're a small company, you don't need to pay that much, and for some parts, it's even almost free on Odoo. So it's very, very convenient for startups where price can be an important factor. And then it can grow with your business. And earlier I was mentioning about processes. Sorry, it's a long answer. I was mentioning about processes earlier. When we start as a small company, often we don't have any processes and we yet to have to create them. And starting with an ERP like Odoo is very convenient for a small business. I know it's not regarding marketing, but it's mostly about Odoo and how it can help a startup. Is that instead of having to go in complex customization that bigger companies will do, well, you use Odoo to get started on the right foot. So for me, I think it's a huge advantage of using Odoo for a startup. And I want to say,
Awesome.
yeah, I want just one thing. I know, sorry.
Of course.
I'm just excited about this topic. Like, of course, you have I'm not claiming here that the mailing interface of Odoo is better than MailChimp. It's not what I'm saying. It's that, and it's valid for all the Odoo modules, is that you have a clear interface, that it's the same for all modules. So you're not lost on every product, and the database is the same for everything, and everything is connected. That's the main advantage. And you don't need to waste time doing connections that will break 1 or 2 years after. That it's happening with Zapier or other things that yeah, automation can be tricky sometimes. Yes, sorry for the long answer.
No worries. Thank you so much. That's very insightful answer. We saw that a lot of integration in Odoo, right? So like even not only on the sales part or like in the B2B case situation you can track, but also if you have some sort of marketing campaign over email or maybe across social media, you can also track it as well over the system. And that's really good point that you mentioned. If we company don't really have exact operation SOP, for example, if they want to be more organized, they can actually start having a system, right? So along the way they can, it's actually how to do a better business. So one more time, like, thank you so much for sharing today, Jeff. I think we love your sharing session is very insightful. And lastly, we have also like business show Phnom Penh that will coming up soon on 6th of May 2025. So yeah, it will be held in the Hyatt Regency Phnom Penh, and then there are a lot of interesting sections. So in the morning section, we will have an introduction of partnership program for IT company, and then in the afternoon section, we have a very interesting part, which is the topic for this year is how to leverage scalable ERP software to accelerate your businesses. I think it's kind of like really related about our topic today. So if you want to dig deeper about this understanding, we highly suggest you to come to the business roadshow as well. And then we will have a live stage demo so you can see how is actually Odoo system works, so you have a better understanding on it. And then we have interactive Odoo booth as well. I think you will meet us, Odoo team, and also local partners as well, and one-on-one ERP consultation. So maybe you can connect with Jeff and also other partners as well to have consultation session to like learn about their experience and etc. And we have a QR codes in here. If you're interested, you can just scan and also register now. I think we already opened the registration. So thank you so much for everyone coming in today's webinar. So stay tuned in Odoo streaming channel. So we have plenty of insightful content and also another webinar like this. So thank you so much and have a good day.
Siobhan.